So we had the project Silent Talk that was there in 2008. Because I was thinking like, yeah, the director of DARPA again. This time, the director of DARPA was Regina DUGAN. Let's just remember this name. I said also that the language approach, the language reading, decoding from the mind could have like two different approaches. One is going directly to semantic, as Marcel just was doing. Another approach is by the night that was implemented for the first time by the Night Lab and the Gallant Lab, Berkeley, Google Facility for Artificial Intelligence, the preferred one, let's say. They did a reconstruction from perception. So when I think about hammer, I just think about it. My brain activity is the same as if I heard the word hammer. So, if I read the part of the brain that is up to perceptions, what I hear, then I can decode my internal talks, not from the semantic, but from the perception part. It's a lot cheaper, it's a lot easier to do. And yeah, so they made it. This is basically the brain open to 360, yeah. And then the subject will look at some video and they can see where the activity is going on. Then again, they map like the video with the brain activity, and the next time, without knowing what I'm looking at, they can know that I'm looking at a cat or a shoes. And they made a website. There was one of those pupils that made a nice website about voxel and semantics. Voxel is basically the car. Here it's a point that has these semantics going on. If I move the cursor here, then it will have different semantics. It's a really interesting website. I'll send a link if anybody is interested. It's public domain. And finally, in 2013, in Tokyo, they were able to do decoding from dreaming. So what we are dreaming can be decoded and renderized on a video clip. Of course, like the first version is really rough, low resolution. So we don't know, like, yes, I'm seeing a man, a woman. It's interesting that as like the awakening is coming, then the image got like more defined. Anyway, but yes, with some years, this would be like we could map dreams to a video game, let's say. So I will play inside your dream. Anyway, let's move on. DARPA BRAINGATE. 2004, let's move back a bit, because on one side we do the coding and we like to play with semantics. On the other stuff, they want to move things as well. So BRAINGATE is a company that was made up by DARPA and Brown University, and in other cases from Boston University. They are really odds in the sense they are doing really terrible stuff, in the sense they are really super advanced stuff. They want invasive connections with the brain. So one thing is to have an helmet, another thing is to have something implanted into your brain. That gives like some advantage on the battlefield because it's faster, and it has at the moment is where the higher there is a bet where we can decode things and do brain imaging, and the bet is, for example, Elon Musk and DARPA, they want to go with invasive implants. Other people, they want to stay out of the brain and just to have an helmet or things. This is an invasive prototype. It's a nice bet. The first person that had it implanted, this guy, Eric Ramsey, he had an incident, paraplegic, completely, like we are talking about people with no other choice than getting an help from the society to start to have a normal life again. In this case, the help, they are approached by a group of people with big promises, like you will move things again, you will speak again, just sign here, or just blink your eyes, and that will consider as a sign, and you will be part of our research program. The problem is that it's not a pure the medical research program is mainly a coverage for a military research program. So what they want to achieve is prosthetics. So so they became guinea pigs, and this is terrible from an ethical point of view, I think, because like the only things that I mean, it reminds me really of the carrot and and so what's happened is basically that, for example, for this woman, she wanted just to eat chocolate, to be able to grab candies and to eat again. 2 months before the program was finished, they just switched the old things. They said, okay, now with the same things, now you will try to pilot a flight. First a simple version and then an F-35 version. She did. And then they published, and then there was the there was a convention, military convention, and they said like, even if they denied that this was like a prototype for a new swarm drone technology, in which one you can drive drones with your mind, then they announced it to the military happening at the 60th F notes. What's important here is that it's interesting to know what's going on, where the money are coming from, and why we are doing this. At that time, the president that followed Regina DUGAN was Rati Prakpar, interesting woman. Okay, let's go now to, like, we are moving like from the basic brain imaging, brain decoding, to the applications. So driving an F-35, for example, moving cursor on the screen. In 2004, NeuroSky was founded in Silicon Valley. The research behind it started in 1999 with other foundings. They made like chips for toys, so you could like look mom without hands effect. It was really a success. In 2007, Interaxon started. I think this is quite interesting as the concept. So this woman that founded Interaxon first in Canada. All these things are happening in the Nordic, like I mean the not military part of BCI is happening a lot in the Nordic part of the globe. Canada, Toronto, Seattle, the borderline between Canada and United States. Yeah, I haven't investigated Russia, but here in, for example, in Germany, there are things as well in the northeast side of Europe. Muse gives neurofeedbacks. So once we wear it, it's sensoring our brain, and if I'm relaxed, it will give me. It will play relaxed music, or let's say low music, until I hear birds or things like that. It's an application that connects to the device and gives me a neurofeedback. So if I'm not relaxed, the music would be louder. And I learned to meditate, and I would say learn to meditate because I don't. But I had like a confirmation of that I was doing something in the right direction when I was meditating, thanks to this, because I've been like in many meditation sessions, and to think about your breath, think about this, but actually I didn't know if I was like doing things well or not. Actually I was not, probably. Thanks to neurofeedback, we can actually see when your meditation is having good effects on your brain. So if the frequencies are going down, and if you're making space in your mind, or if the brain takes it all. Emotiv 2001. It's this kind of, I don't have it with me. It's again headset sensoring. There is an application SDK for developers and blah blah blah. You read brain states and then you map them to controls, for example. This is really nice for the way it, not that model, but this model is really good for the motor cortex, that is the part of the brain that is in charge for movements. So when I want to move a drone, for example, just an example, I can use this and it will work out of the box because it has been studied for that. This is a way like so to let's say spread the technology for controlling physical things outside of the world. Like for example, the University of Florida in 2017, the first brain drone race. I found the connection thanks to this guy. So interesting initiative, quite toys and gaming things, together with the EDU, so the educational academy part. The goal was like to move drones. And I found that their mentor was really connected to DARPA. It was like inside in DARPA and blah, 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 blah. So it got basically it was founded also by NSF and DARPA eventually. It's nice to dig into history. 2013, here comes the pirate. Open BCI, it's basically open source electronic for BCI sensoring. It was a small company in New York in 2013. Today it's still a company in New York, and they ship BCI electronics to all the world. And it's more like you can the circuits are available. You can download the schemas. You can modify them. You can do your own starting from that. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. So if you want to have a better version of this, you just work on their schema and you do a better version, and you publish, because that's the way open source work. So you give. And yeah, I think it's a really nice concept. It's basically BCI for all, finally, out of the corporation. I mean, it's really nice what corporations do. They make products, why not? I like to being the owner of the product of a corporation. So in this case with open source electronics, it's like then you own it. Then I'm a partner with them. I'm not a customer, so I can like do my version of it and be smarter. If I'm smart in an ideal world with a good ideas, I could do a lot of things if I don't have the low constraint. What about the future? What's coming on? It's probably telepathy. Okay, in October 13. Okay, so this was said by Qualcomm, the CTO of Qualcomm, was it? So basically, we had mobile phones. We had 1G, we had 2G, 3G, 4G, the 6G, the 5G 5G is for your eyes. 6G will be for the brain waves. So it's like we need brain waves occupy a lot of bandwidth. So we need powerful networks in order to. This was also the year in which when DARPA, after Barack Obama launched the Brain Initiative, that was like, let's say, unveiled the Brain Initiative. That is basically a mix of public and private and military investment all together. Let's get all in. There are a lot of money, government money, United States, and we want to build something big. Let's achieve this. Let's reach this. It's like it has been compared to the Manhattan Project. It has been compared to the Apollo project, not by me, by the IBM CEO, by other people. What I want to say is that at that time when that was happening, they had DARPA director, Partie, called the CTO of IBM, Qualcomm, Google, Microsoft in a little small room, asking like, do we have the infrastructure for this? Of course, the answer was yes. A group was born. Yeah, they basically they gathered together to prototype this new brain internet. Like they are building it, or let's say, I prefer to think that yeah, there was a lot of experimenting things in the military since the 60s, and now they are quite ready to have deployment like internet, and now they are looking for what's the best way to do it, and also, yeah, they want to be sure that we use it the proper way. Now, yes. For the future, where are we going? So we know our fMRI. fMRI is this big machine that detects where the blood activity is in our brain, and then so then it gives an image of our brain activity. But it can be an image of our brain can be achieved in other different ways. For example, with optogenetics, we modify the neurons genetically in order to emit lights when they fire, or reverse, that when they got some lights, they fire, or when they fire, they emit light. Yeah, both. Or magnetogenetics is the same thing, but there's no need for the wire cable. So basically, we change our genetics of our neurons. It's not something that we would like to have, but it can be done. So every time that a neuron has an activity, it emits a certain frequency that can be detected easily from, for example, a carbon cap. Then synchron, this is another way they are looking into. It's like the strand node. It's this thing we have to imagine like in all our blood wires, and it detects basically the activity, and the ones, of course, it's backed up by DARPA. When it detects, it's connected to something that streams wireless what's going on in our brain, and we have it on a computer or on a LAN. Open water, I love those. I love this company. They're really visionary, and they are really making the difference with results, with a different mindset than DARPA, I think. So they use ultrasonic scanning. The Mary-Lou Japspen was at Google, was important technical guru at Google, at Facebook. Then she said, like, they're going in the wrong direction. I will do my own company. So she made Open Water. They promised to have like a really cheap and portable brain scanning machine in a near future. So if it's cheap, then everybody can use it, everybody can wear it. But the problem is the interface. So there are three things: reading, decoding, mapping, and then do things with it. The reading part is a bit, we have like these helmets, these things, nobody wants to wear them. Or yes, maybe. But that's not like the betting direction. So on the reading part, there is a lot of money invested to find different solutions. This is one really promising. A guy at the Media Lab just last year, 2 years ago already, oh my god, invented this prototype. So again, we are going through, this is telepathy through technology. So instead of reading the semantic, instead of reading the perception, I read the motor, let's say, when my muscle moves for saying a word, that's an activity that can be recorded and decodified. When I also think about the word I'm saying, and I kind of move, it's like an intention of moving my tongues and my mouth in order to say that. That works as well. I don't have to speak in order to that to happen. So they made like this sensor, and it basically reads what you want to say. And then they have like these earphones that are connected. Instead of being connected to the external part of the ear. They are directly into the bone. This is already a commercial product for sport people, for example. So you don't cover your ear, you keep hearing like the environmental part of it. And yes, and what's happening is basically that you can hear like something without anybody hear it, but at the same time you hear the environment. So it's basically like, yeah, you can talk with your AI personal assistant, nobody will recognize that, and you could have a fantastic chess game. Regina DUGAN, 2008, was Project Silent Talk. She was the director at DARPA in 2015. She worked at Google at Project X. That was basically a super secret research project in Google. Nobody knows what was the output of that. They work a lot with mobile phones. And in 2017, she came out. Well, she revealed that she was the director at Building 8 at Facebook, and they were on mind reading technologies. So again, $1 trillion, as Mark Zuckerberg said. This is the F8 conference. It's a PR conference for engineers. The thing is that while she was a DARPA, she also set up the technology assessment office. That is basically, what is technology assessment? Let's say, yes, we do technology transfer, so we ship the new technology to the people, but we want that to be used the way we want. It's a discipline that's come up with tools, so you will use the things that the technology in the way that I want you to use it.